Hey everybody, welcome to week 10. I can't believe it is week 10 already. And this week, it's going to be a very busy week. So the first thing you'll notice is that there is no cereal this week. We need to take a little bit of break from cereal for the next couple of weeks so we can get through all of the instruction on how to synthesize texts, and so you can start on your Justice paper. So we have a busy week this week, and let's start going through it. So here's the overview of week 10. You can see over here we have our course schedule. Hopefully you've printed that out. It's deceptively short because there is some major time that needs to be put in this week. We have a suggested schedule. We have some mentor texts. We have a presentation that hopefully, if you've been working ahead, you're finished with, and you can just post that and get started with your presentations. Also, the green sheets have been posted early for a long time, so hopefully those are all done. And if you've done these two pre-work activities, you're going to be really happy with yourself this week, because the most time you're going to spend is in this writing instruction and practice of writing a synthesis. So the first thing you might be thinking is, oh, wait a second, there's a suggested schedule this week? Yep, I decided that, okay, so if you're like me, I'm a last minute person. I like to do things the night before they're due. I still do that. It is a strategy. It is the deadline motivation that helps me. But this week, it's just not feasible to get everything done in one night. And I don't want you to get to that place and start freaking out. So first of all, I know that you're all overwhelmed. I know that this is a lot. I want you to hang in there, because once we get through the instruction, it's going to be a little less stressful. So I want you to just take a deep breath and know that you're practicing right now. So I don't want you to be a perfectionist. I know that you're practicing. And so this week I have chunked up all of your work into little bite-sized pieces. So hopefully you're listening to this on Friday right after the week opens, or even before the week is supposed to open, because I think I'm going to post this during early so you can get started as fast as you can. So hopefully this will help you just take little pieces at a time. So if this is Friday afternoon, you can do a little bit today, you can do a little bit over the weekend, and a little bit every single day next week. So you will be able to get everything done by Friday. That is my hope. So that is my help for you, is that I just chunked it up. If it doesn't work with your schedule, go ahead and figure it out yourself, but make sure you have a plan, because you're not going to be able to do this in one night. There's just too much thinking and too much processing. You're going to need some space in between things in order to do this well. All right, so let's start. The first thing on our list for this week is we have some mentor texts. Last week you saw the Jan and Meg show, where you witnessed our process for beginning to write the legal justice definition paper. We went through our post-it noting strategy for figuring out big ideas, which we have done in other presentations. We modeled how to write a thesis statement and write toward that thesis. So, and then we really zoomed in on stop 1, and then you wrote stop 2. So this week, here are Jan and I. Okay, so back up. I'm going to rewind a little bit. When we were writing the curriculum for this course, after we did all of that post-it noting, we both went home, and our assignment for the evening was to write the paper. So I am a floor sitter, and I spread out all of my texts. I had my laptop in the middle of it, and I wrote my definition for legal justice paper. And Jan did the same thing at her house. And then we met back at work the next day, and we each had a paper. And then we looked at each other's papers, we read each other's papers, and we talked about it. And we came to the conclusion that our first stops are different. You will see that when you read these papers. And we came to the conclusion that her first stop was supported by more texts than my first stop. So we decided to go with her first stop. The journeys are pretty similar because we're using the exact same texts and we're writing the same definition. But you will see that even though we had a limited number of texts and we were writing the same assignment, you're going to see that they're quite different. My paper is the second paper, so you will really notice the contrast between the first stops. You will also see some similarities, but you will be able to see two different brains attacking the same assignment, which is really going to be helpful for you when you're going to start writing your own justice paper. So you're going to read both of the papers, and they're in one really long document because the margins are very short or big, I guess, because we also went through each of our papers and wrote structural comments. And we pulled out things like MLA formatting and how to do quotations and how to thread things through. And even some synthesis things are highlighted in these papers. So go ahead and read those papers and the structural comments. And then you have a discussion board that you can go and discuss all of your thinking that's going along with that. So that is your first assignment this week. Your second assignment this week is the Open Research Choices presentation. Like I said before, I hope that this is already done. You did all the work for it in week 8 when you had to turn in that paper of your texts. So all you have to do is put it in a presentation and talk through it. It isn't a big deal. It is a summary and a justification for each text. And feel free to use VoiceThread. You know how to do that. Or if you have another application that you would like to use, that is fine with me as long as we can hear you and you can post a link that we can all have access to. So that should be an easy thing. The next thing is the first set of green sheets are due. This has been posted for a long time. Hopefully you're already done with this as well. If you're not, you make sure and read the direction sheet, follow the direction sheet, and upload that into the assignment folder. So the green sheets for all 4 commutative, distributive, social, and procedural justices are due this week, because we're going to be using those green sheets to do our next thing, which is writing instruction and practice, writing a synthesis. So you're going to be using all those green sheets to help you do this. And you're going to be writing 3 synthesis papers. And this week we are going to focus on commutative and distributive justice first. There is another video called The Jan and Meg Show Part 2, and we are going to go through this synthesis writing in detail, giving a lot of support for you to write this synthesis paper. There's a worksheet that goes along with it. The video is about 40 minutes long. You're going to need some materials. You're going to need your green sheets. You're going to need some gray sheets. You're going to need this worksheet. I believe it's this one here. You're going to need that worksheet, and you're going to go through that video, and we're going to give you the instructions you need. We're going to get you started on that paper, and then you're going to go off and write that paper. I want you to know that this is practice, okay? So you're going to go write that paper, you're going to upload it, you're going to be done with that paper, and then there's another video called The Jan and Meg Show Part 3, and that also has a worksheet, and that is for social justice and procedural justice. And we give you about half of the support that we give you for commutative and distributive justice. So we're letting go of the reins a little bit, letting you have a little bit more responsibility with this paper. And you're going to write that paper and upload that paper this week as well. So you're going to have 2 synthesis papers due this week, both of which have quite a bit of support. And then your 3rd synthesis paper will be due next week. And that third paper is going to be due on Tuesday next week, because then we're going to go into actually writing your paper. And you need to have the practice before you're done. So I need to talk to you about this practice because I want to stress that it is practice. I know that I am throwing you in the deep end and saying, kick your legs to try and keep your nose above water, right? I know that. I do not expect this to be perfect writing papers. If I wanted your synthesis papers to be perfect, we would be going through the writing process and we would be doing multiple drafts on them. I'm giving you 1 draft. And so my expectations are that you're doing the best that you can, that you're using spell check. I don't expect to see the lowercase I for the word I. I don't expect to see words that are contractions without an apostrophe in them. I don't expect to see a lot of misspelled words. I expect to see college level work, right? I expect you to be doing your best, and you are handing it in, so it has to be the form, it has to be presentable. It cannot just be something that you never reread before you turn in. Of course, you're going to reread it. But I'm not expecting this to be the best synthesis paper ever. I don't want you to spend 8 hours on it. I want you to try out all of the things that we're trying to teach you. I want you to take some risks. It does not have to be perfect at all. So I want you to know that this is practice. And I will give you feedback on your synthesis papers. And so when you're turning these papers in, I will be checking D2L and doing my very best to give you as immediate a feedback as I can. I do have 3 other classes and children, and but I'll do my very best to prioritize your synthesis papers so you're getting feedback all the time. Okay? So I just wanted that to be your caveat. This is going to be the bulk of your work. And yes, it's going to take some time. That is why I gave you the schedule. Okay? So then, of course, if you want to get ahead for next week and you haven't done your green sheets for retributive and restorative paper, oh, that's lovely. If you haven't done the green sheets yet, you can absolutely do them. And I have a worksheet that will go along with this synthesis paper as well. There will not be a video for retributive and restorative justice. So if you get to the point where you are ready to write your synthesis paper, email me and I will email you the worksheet, because you'll need that if you want to get ahead. So go ahead, and what I want you to do is work hard this week. I know that it's a lot. I know that it's overwhelming, but try and find some joy in this. Try and play a little bit and have some fun. This is practice, so practice. Take some risks. Try some stuff out. And remember that slow and steady wins the race. So be a tortoise this week and just keep putting one foot in front of the other. I know you can do this because I've had students do this for a while. Like they get through all of this. This is not any more than I give to my face-to-face classes. In fact, it's a little bit less than what I give to my face-to-face classes. So I hope you have a good week. Email me with questions, and I'll see you in the next presentation.